Hello, my name is John McAllister, and welcome to the Setting Trick Podcast. One of the reasons I started this podcast is because I wanted to share bridge with a wider audience. And one of the absolute pleasures of my 8+ year foray into the world of bridge, my deep dive, has been making new friends. And I had no idea that I would make so many great friends. And I'm excited to have here with us today top professional bridge player Greg Hinze. Greg is a world champion, a Grand Life Master, a 3-time North American bridge champion. And I really wanted to have him on because he makes me laugh. The one big takeaway, the new thing that I learned about Greg in this conversation is that when he first heard about the possibility of being a professional bridge player, he said, I want that. And he gave himself the time, 5 years, to do it. And now here he is. Greg Hinze,
How we doing?
bridge player, Grand Life Master, world champion, and setting trick guest. Now you can add that to your resume.
Thank you. I'm glad you have me here.
So you're a professional bridge player.
Yes.
When did you make the decision?
I started playing bridge about 1996, maybe a year later that I actually found out there were professional bridge players. At that point, I had already fell in love with the game. The game was, to me, is the best game in the world. And when I found out that people are making their living playing bridge, I set that as a goal to myself. And I decided that I would study and try to become one of the best players. And I gave myself 5 years. If I can't do it within 5 years, then I'm going to have to go do something else. And while I was doing that, I was actually dealing poker for a guy who ran home games. And he was understanding of my passion. He was a bridge player himself and making money dealing poker to support myself while I was learning the game of bridge. And it was just under 5 years, maybe 4 years, early in 4 years, that I got my first gig, and I was excited. And so and then it kind of exploded from there. With the help of a national win, I got a few more gigs, and it's been like that was probably in 2003, I guess, maybe, that I really started getting moving. And ever since then, that's just been full time. I quit the poker thing and all that.
What were the circumstances in 1996 whereby you learned that people made a living playing?
Oh, no, 96, I didn't really quite know yet. 96 is when I first started playing bridge. It was like in the middle or late, close to like 1998 that I actually found out. But the circumstances that got me playing bridge was interesting. My mother, we played like kitchen bridge maybe 5 times, and they didn't play Stamen. They didn't play transfers. Not even artificial strong 2 clubs. There was nothing. I played with my mother and my grandfather. They knew how to take tricks. So we'd played lots of hearts and spades. So it was good at taking tricks, but we did not understand the bidding at all. Anyway, she had a Gorin bridge book that she was getting rid of in a garage sale. She worked in selling wholesale to retail and have all rid of. So she would twice a year have this huge garage sale. So one day she just decided to get rid of some old books, and the book wasn't there. And some guy came and saw the Gorin book and asked to come play at the local bridge club. And so she said, I don't know if I'm interested, but maybe my son might be interested. But it turns out she did go and take lessons at the bridge club herself. And on the 7th lesson, she went to Hawaii, and she said, I have 1 lesson left. I've already talked to the teacher. Why don't you go and see what it's all about? And so they were teaching out of the Audrey Grant books. So I read the book and went to the class, and the teacher was basically just teaching out of the book. So I'd already learned everything from the book that she was teaching. And she, I guess, was impressed with me. So she asked me to play one day after that lesson. So we went and played in the club. That was my very first game that I ever played. And we won. From there, I was just instantly hooked. So then the guy who bought the book from my mother was also he was a local pro. He's played locally. So then he asked me to play, and we won. So I won my first 2 duplicate games. And from there, it was found a young Russian guy I started playing with, exchange student, Alexei Orchard. I don't even know what's happened to him now, but we started playing quite a bit. We were winning a lot. And then I found one of my longtime partners, Nagy Camel, and we just went from there. And that was all before I actually became professional myself.
Did your mom have the Audrey Grant book as part of being in the class?
Yeah, so she bought it for the class, gave her the books. It was 4 books,
Yeah.
I guess. The Club series, Diamond series, Heart series.
And so you read it before you went to have you were reading it while she was studying it?
It was a quick read for me. So no, I read it when she told me to go to the class. So it was like I read it like in one night, the book that they were teaching out of, which was just the Club series. But she had bought all the books, the Club's Diamonds, Hearts, and Spades. And I ended up reading all of those, and then 100 or 200 more books after that even.
And was this in San Antonio? You live in San Antonio now. Is that where you?
No, at the time I lived in Dallas, Arlington, Texas, between Dallas and Fort Worth. That's where I grew up. This was like, so I was like going to college. I think I just finishing dropping out of college. I never really graduated. And so my mom was just probably looking for something for me to do.
How'd you get the job as the poker dealer?
Okay, well, I got the job because the poker dealer, the guy who actually bought the bridge book is the same guy. He ran his own poker club. So I was waiting tables at the time. He's like, stop doing that. Why don't you come deal poker for me every now and then? And then I played a lot with his wife, actually. It's one of my first partners.
Was that a legal game or was it an illegal game?
I don't know that it was an up and up or not, but I made all my monies from tips. He didn't pay me anything. All my money came from tips. But it was fun. I did that for about 4.5 years. It was about the same time span that I was learning bridge. So, and then once I made the transfer over to professional bridge player, I kind of stopped dealing the poker. The games kind of started drying up too, because like in poker, you really need to have some people to support the game, because otherwise, if you don't have the players that keep coming that are willing to lose the money day in and day out, then the game will fall apart. You can't just have a whole bunch of, really expert players, because nobody can do well except for the house.
So what were the circumstances whereby you learned about bridge as a profession?
One of my partners, I think, clued me in on it. Another good player, we were playing, and I think at one point he just said, like, those professionals, always doing whatever. And I was like, what are you talking about? Professionals, bridge players or whatever. People are professionals. I thought we were just playing for fun, and I don't know. I mean, that attracted me. I was like, well, that if people, and he's like, yeah, they go to regionals, and that's all they do is play bridge. I was like, sounds like a life for me.
What sort of steps did you take to get yourself to that level? Like,
I read a ton of books. I was wanting to become a bridge player professional, but I had no idea where to go. I mean, I never even asked for my first gig. I think Billy Miller gave me my first gig as a side pair, me and my partner Nagy. We had played on his team. From there, like I played a lot. Bruce Ferguson was helping me out quite a bit too, and played a lot on his teams and just grew from there. Once you start getting in and start doing well, it kind of perpetuates itself.
So you started out playing, you weren't playing with clients initially.
Right. No.
Like you were under filling out a team.
Yeah, I was filling out a team. I didn't ever have like a regular partner yet either early on. Nowadays I mostly play with clients. I don't do so much partner anymore. But I still do that occasionally. Currently I'll be playing with Josh Don if it ever gets back to live bridge. So which hopefully won't be too long.
Do you guys have a deal?
We're supposed to play on the Fireman team, Phyllis Fireman's team for the next cycle. Other than that, I don't have any deals for regionals or anything, but that's our cycle, cycle team, which starts in summer with the Spingold, then the fall and the spring. We had them for this last year too, but there was no live bridge. I mean, right where we were about to play, and our first one was the summer nationals got canceled. Even the spring nationals got canceled, but I was on another team playing with David Granger. So that tournament got canceled. But after we basically decided to do the same cycle because we had never really played. So
you think the summer nationals are going to happen, like in live in person?
I'm hoping so. I wouldn't bet on it yet, but I sure hope they will. I miss live bridge. I like holding the cards in my hands. I like being at the table with the people. You can pull in a lot more. Like sometimes you know that they were actually thinking opponents, as opposed to like, oh, did the cat come in and turn around and pet the cat, or did the doorbell ring? You don't really know what's going on when you're on the computer. Although, have you played on RealBridge yet? There's
Yeah.
the RealBridge platform is really nice because there you at least have being face to face because they're there always, and it's also nice if you played a team game on one of those. Like recently, they held the USBF Lall workout online on RealBridge, and it's pretty fun because like in between the matches, like when you start off, you're sitting with your teammates, so you can chat with your team,
Mm,
and
mm.
all four of you are there like a team, and then it's like when it's time to play, then like boom, it just changes, and you're at the table with your opponents, and then it's even great because so when you get a hand, then as you north and east are together, south and west are together, so it simulates the screens, and you can't no longer see your opponent or your partner until the hand is over. Then you have a brief 10-second window where you can like, what should we be playing this over this or whatever? You can hit the pause button to do it. But I like the RealBridge quite a bit. It really adds that extra element, and you don't have to like zoom. I've also played some other games where you're like zooming on the side, but it's not the same as the RealBridge. RealBridge is really great. I'm sure. I mean, it's brand new relatively, but I'm sure that they're doing updates to it all the time and improving the software and functionality and features and all that.
Do they imp the scores in RealBridge, or do you actually compare with your teammates?
No, they imp it for you. In fact, it's great because as soon as you finish, if you can see all the imps from what your team has done, and you see the board as they play, you can't go and actually kibitz them, but you see the scores. They're real good for review because you can go back and see how they played it and all that stuff. That is the one good thing about online bridge versus live bridge is the hand record and record keeping of the plays and all that stuff, which you don't really have in live bridge. A lot of times you're going over a hand in live bridge and maybe somebody doesn't quite remember exactly how it went, or like a day later or 2 days later, it starts to lose it. I play so many hands of bridge, it's hard to really remember hands these days. So they all blend together. I don't know. But having the online record is really nice. That part is nice about online bridge.
I agree. I played in the premier pairs in the fall online NABC. Like Jeff Hampson sat in my seat, for example. So I could look at every deal, see the cards he played. You know, that's really cool.
That's really good too. I do that all the time. Like in between, I play a ton of these BL things, like all the regional 2-session events, and I play fair amount regularly on just the regular small tournaments. But in between, like you have 5 minutes and like you go and see all the results, and oh, that was a weird result. Like what happened? And you can go and look. And again, like if everybody's making 5 and see like, well, they were getting different leads or played something wrong or incorrectly or whatever, and you can compare and check it out. It's nice.
Yeah, you kind of anticipated one of my questions. I was going to ask you if you had like a favorite event. And while you haven't said you have a favorite event of this since, the COVID, but it sounds like, RealBridge has been really positive for you.
Yeah, I do like RealBridge. My favorite events though are obviously like the Spingold or the Vanderbilt, those events. I've been playing a lot also of the OCBL and the Alt. It's really nice, I think, because we get to play against a lot of Europeans, and Europeans, there's a lot of strong Europeans, and their systems are way different than what we're used to here in America. And it's fun to compete against new styles and new treatments.
Have you had any good wins in the online era?
The online era, I've not any wins. I haven't had any wins. I've made the quarterfinals once and the semifinals once in those events. They're very, very tough, some of those events. Really tough teams, world-class players all around. Great events, though. I like playing stronger competitions. I don't like playing when people don't know what they're doing. Not because that, they're going to get me or anything like that, but it's not the same. You can't take as much inferences, and it's no fun when you win to beat bad players. It's more fun to beat the good players. It means something when you do. So, but yeah, they're very tough. They're very tough. Top players in those events.
What's it like seeing your former sponsor, Mike Levine, doing so well?
Oh, I'm happy for him. He's got a great team now. They're playing with Macwell. They have the Norwegians. Yeah. Helnes and Helgema, yeah. So he has a great team right now, and they deserve to do well. So I'm happy for him.
Are you and Kay playing in the Christina's event that starts tomorrow, the mixed pairs?
No, we're playing. Kay and I are in the Alt League, the Alt Open League, and it kind of it's like the last week of most months. It's like 10 months long. So anyway,
10 months long.
something like that. It's like 10. You don't have to play in all of them, but it's like 10. It's 10 weeks total. It's a long event. I think they're playing for like different types of leagues where you move up and down. That's kind of like a more European style. They have like these leagues where
Yeah.
like once they break you into leagues, like the top 10 teams will be like whatever they call bracket one or whatever, next 10 teams in the second bracket. And then after a season is over, they move like the bottom one or two pairs down from top league to the next league, and they move the first and second pair from the second league up to the top league. Therefore, you can change leagues.
So going back to your start in the game, you won the 2003 North American Swiss with Nagy, and you came second twice in 2005, 2006. How did you two start?
Well, it was kind of interesting. I asked him to play one day. We had played against them, and he had a lot of talent taking tricks and stuff. Like he was a very, I would say, wild, aggressive bidder, but it paid off for him very well. He could take his tricks and he knew what was happening, defend quite well. I asked him to play, and he actually said no at first, and then later he asked me to play, so I said no. Then we ended up playing after that, and we played for quite a long time. We played several years together.
So you said no just out of like sort of quid pro quo?
Yeah, it wasn't too much longer after that we started playing. But anyway, I was moving on to professional bridge. That wasn't really his life. You know, he had a family and he had his own company and stuff like that he had to run. So he wasn't really looking to be a full-time bridge player like I was. So I had moved on because of that. It had nothing to do with anything other than that, you know.
You and Granger were playing Strong Club, I think.
Yeah, I played a lot with David, and I played several years, and I played Strong Club. Actually, I was on a team. Chris Compton added me for one event as a fill-in, and I got to play with Jeff Hampson. So Jeff Hampson filled me in on precision. So I had never played it. He walked me. I played it much against it, so it wasn't too bad. But he walked me through like the basics and taught me mech light in about 3 hours in an afternoon. We played an event together. I played a whole week with Jeff Hampson. I played one event with Bobby Levin. That was the one that Compton got me to play like for one knockout. I got to play with Bobby Levin. We did not play precision there, but Hampson taught me the precision, and that was fun to get to play with Hampson for a week. That was really a pleasure. One of my great experiences. Playing with Bobby Levin also was fun too.
So you played with Jeff as a pro pair on a regional team.
Right. Yes. For 1 week. That was the end of my pro. It wasn't like we were forming a partnership or whatever. Chris kind of just put together this team and kind of put us together.
Circumstances whereby Jeff, you want to play, and you said, what system do you want to play?
Yeah, I think he kind of asked me. And so I was like, I would like to learn the precision. I'd been wanting to do that. So he said, okay, I'll go over the card and tell you what we play over one club and one diamond opener. And then you tell me what we play over one major and one no trump opener. So that was kind of like a give and take. That way he wouldn't totally overload. We didn't do like a lot of, I'm sure our system wasn't anywhere near what him and Greco play or anything like that. It was a very good intro to the system. And from there, then like anything else, I like to deal with system, but I take bits and pieces from everybody. I don't really just copy anybody's systems. I wouldn't say that I make up the majority of my stuff, but I do have my own ideas as well. I usually just take pieces from here and there and mix and match and, kind of a mesh of what you learn. Like I always think it's great to learn, to play different things from everybody. And then you can decide what you like and take the things that you like and the things that you don't care for as much, you can replace them.
Are you and Josh playing Strong Club?
We also play Strong Club, very similar to the same system that David and I played, although we are making a few changes.
What do you like about Strong Club over a natural system?
I don't know that I really prefer it a lot over one or the other. I think that you can do just as well with either. The best part about precision to me is when you don't open a club, or actually a diamond opener can be a little bit messy too. But when you open a major, that's when you really clean up because your partner knows you're limited and you get lots of good auctions for like 1 heart past 4 hearts, and they don't know whether they should come in or not because, where everybody else, they can't just do that with like 4 triple 3 because they're fearing that you may miss a slam because their partner could have a big moose over there, but you don't have that. So I like that part of it. The preemption part is a little bit nasty when you open a club. So there's downsides to that. And the 2 club opener can be bad because you often sometimes miss like 4/4 fifths when you don't have game. When you have game values, it's not so bad. But when you don't have game values, like a lot of times it might go like one club, one spade, two spades, and there you are. But when we open two clubs, we're like, we don't know if we can bid, and then 6/1 club fit when we had a 5/4 spade fit. That's not fun sometimes. But I don't know. I mean, like anything, it's like it creates swings, and you got to be able to deal with sometimes that a swing costs you a board, but it also swings gain you boards as well. But I don't think the system really much matters. What matters is what you play, that your system covers all the bases. Is like your system covers how to invite, how to game force, how to sign off, and that kind of thing, and the various different things like and what suits you're going to play in the strains. So as long as you have all those, you can combine them. It doesn't really matter, in my opinion, what you play.
When you and Josh started playing together, like how did it go in terms of, did you send him notes? Did he notes? Did you sit down and create a new set?
I just sent him the notes that I had with David and asked him to look over, and if he wanted to change anything, just feel free to tell me. But, I think it was good to start with something and then go from there, as opposed to I wasn't sending him the notes saying this is what we're playing. I'm saying this is what we'll start with.
How many pages?
Surprisingly, it's my system notes are very small. Like even with David, we had 23 pages of notes. I think that's it. A lot of it is, I have a lot of plug and play. I call them plug and play, where I use like same techniques in a lot of places. So you write the technique once and then you plug it in. For example, it's named different things, but people call it like Woody or Mulberry or 4 club, 4 diamond RKC or whatever. That's all the same thing. And we play a relay structure where we pattern out. And so I use the Woody in that sequence. It's in the 2 diamond opener. It's in a lot of places. So once you have the Woody notes, which is like half a page, then you can plug it in. And so like I'll have like one page where it says Woody like 25 times. If I were to expand all those notes out, that makes it quite a bit.
Right. What's your 2 diamond opener?
For precision, it's short diamonds. Like I always say it's like 4/4, 1/5, which is 14 cards minus any card. So the Woody is really good when but then the relay structure, a lot of times I play like a 1 of a major, and then we play 2 clubs relay. And to me, it doesn't work as well in a standard system. That's another part that I like about precision. Since we're limited, we can basically pattern out the opener just to find its distribution. And since our range is very narrow, then we can just make a sign off or a slam try or a key card auction, having known as pattern. So the Woody just says which one of those you're doing. Like you start all your slam tries with 4 clubs. 4 clubs is a puppet to 4 diamonds, and we make a natural slam try, inviting partner to bid again if they'd like, but not forcing them to. Then you have your end signal, which is 4 diamonds, which is a relay to 4 hearts, saying like, I've heard enough, I'm going to sign off somewhere. And then we key card in any of the 3 suits. So the relay is just to pattern out the partner and then decide on the strain and level. It doesn't always work. Sometimes like it's harder for us to find some like nice 2 fits, because it's easier if we know like partner has an opposite or 3 little, then we might be able to find a 5/2 fit. But it's harder to find some 5/2 fits when they don't have a stopper in a suit. Like we don't know that. We know the partner has 2 diamonds and I have Jack third, and I don't know is his diamonds King Queen or Ace King or what. But all in all, in the end, I think a lot of good boards by knowing the exact distribution of partners' hands, where a lot of people have no idea where their shortness is, like 1 spade, 2 hearts, 3 hearts. Okay, now I cubid, and now you cubid 4 clubs. Well, is that a singleton club or is that the ace of clubs? And it really would make a difference. So for us, we'll know, because we wouldn't even start with 1 spade, 2 hearts. We would start with a one spade, 2 clubs and pattern out. And then we would know about the stiff club if we had one every time. So
I should interfere over your 1 major, 2 clubs auctions, or 1 spade.
So you got to be careful, because we play penalty doubles over those. We turn the relay off. It can be weird though, because we're bidding 2 clubs with 6 hearts, 1 spade, 2 clubs with 6 hearts. Right. And you're like, oh, I'll throw in my King Jack 5th of hearts, check, double. Okay. I would have never bid 2 hearts had I known you had 6 hearts to the ace queen to the 9.
In 2010, you won the mixed team world championship. Team, I think you told me, was formed basically like the night before the event.
It was formed the night before. I'd gone to the World Championships not to play in this event. I went to go play in the World Open Pairs. The World Open Pairs is 5 sessions of qualifying, 5 sessions of semi-qualifying, and then 5 sessions of finals. We got knocked out after the semifinals, what are we supposed to do? My partner went home and I had nothing, but I was still going to be there. And so I wanted to play in any kind of world event I had. I actually asked Betty Ann Kennedy. She is passed now, unfortunately, but she was a good friend of mine. I played on teams with her a few times. And I had told her that I would be looking for the mixed teams if she knew of anybody. She said she couldn't play. We actually hadn't finished our getting knocked out, but we were pretty sure we were getting knocked out of the semifinals. The partner was going to be leaving. We would have had to have like a 70% game to qualify or something. So now Joanne Sprung comes along and drops a note off at my table saying like, I hear you're looking for a game or whatever. And so we had never played before. I didn't even know Joanne Sprung. And so we teamed up and we didn't even fill a card that night. We filled a card in the morning. We had a married couple, the Johannessons, from California. That was the only established pair we had. And I think Danielle Levy and Connie Goldberg were a new partnership also formed it. They also agreed to play like the night before. So here we are, two brand new partnerships playing in the World Swiss mixed teams. And the team was just running really, really well. We almost led all the way from front to finish. I think we lost the lead going near the end stretch, which was the worst time to lose it, but we got back up and won the last match to pull ahead to win. I think we won by like 7 VPs, but we pretty much almost led from start to finish.
So I guess it was a transnational team. So maybe, and Daniel is Canadian. Did you get the national anthem?
No, we didn't have any national anthem.
Do you have a gold medal?
I have a gold medal, yeah. It's not made out of gold, but it's a gold medal.
Like I know Greg, we've played together. We've played a couple tournaments together. I'm just telling the audience, and I would say you're a pretty unassuming guy. You're not out there puffing your chest. How many times do you think you've told people that you're a world champion in bridge?
Not often at all. I think my wife told some of her work people who I hang out with, they're non-bridge players, and they're the most impressed anybody. I don't think I really tell people, particularly bridge players. But I've told some non-bridge players that I won a world championship, but I really don't do that much.
So you mentioned your wife, Patty. Were you and Patty married in 2010 when you won the event?
Yes, we got married in 2007.
Did you meet like at a bridge table or at a bridge tournament?
Yeah, we met at a bridge tournament. I remember the first time we had met, and maybe we had been dating for just a little bit. We played a midnight game with some of her friends, and that was the first time we had ever played. And we had this curious auction where a club, a diamond, a heart, and I bid a spade. I mean, this is all only us bidding. So yeah. I thought we were playing four-suit, forcing the game, something, I don't remember, maybe a no trump. And I bid 2 hearts, planning on her bidding again, and it went all pass. And it was a funny hand because I was trying for slam. She made 6 hearts, 4-3. I had delayed raised with 3 hearts only, just trying to get some more information. But she was like all flustered and everything. We had missed a slam, and I said, "Don't worry about it, because they're going to be in 6 no trump, and 6 no trump has no play." And sure enough, they were in 6 no trump. They went down 1, and we probably would have been on 6 no also. I don't think I was going to find the 4-3 heart fit. I was just kind of fooling around to see if she had some more information to give me. Anyway, that's my first memory of a hand that I played with my wife.
Was she in Philadelphia when you won?
No, she doesn't come with me that often at all when I'm playing bridge. She plays locally. She herself, she won the collegiate championships in 1996, beating Darren Wolpert, who was played for Stanford. She played for A&M, and I think it was 1996. Before we had met, they won the collegiate championship, her team.
I didn't realize that Darren went to Stanford.
I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. I could tell you that I'm not 100%, but what she said, it was Darren Wolpert. It was one of the Wolperts she beat. I'm pretty sure it was Darren, and I'm pretty sure she said it was Stanford.
Yeah, Gavin left school on September 11th, University of Toronto, as he said here on the setting trick. So did Patty know that you were in contention? I guess because the event was multiple days and you were winning most days.
She was, okay. She really kibitz, sort of watching. And the world, very interesting. So they had the bridge mates in the world championships, and you could put in the contract and the opening lead, and you could almost watch live because that being fed online, and then they would have access to the hand records after the hands are done. And so she could like what was happening, the scores. So she could see like, oh yeah, on the hand, they led to this against your that. She didn't know the auction or anything, but she knew the contract and the opening lead, and was able to kind of like, most of us can do, like once you almost imagine how they'll go a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe different based off the auction. A lot of times it really defines itself just by the play. So that was fun for her, I'm sure. exciting for me,
Did you call your mom?
Yes, I did. I did call my mom. Actually, the other thing, Patty was at the Nationals when I won. This is funny. So 2003, when I won the Swiss teams, the North American Swiss, she was there for the whole time, but she had to leave at the end. So there she kind of kibitzing, but I think she left for the last two. She maybe saw like the first day or whatever. And then when we won, I was like, she left and I was like, we won. I had called her. And it was a funny thing because that was in New Orleans. And at the time, I had no money. I was dead broke. And so I was we were staying at a cheap place across where you had to take a ferry. We were taking the ferry back and forth. We didn't stay at the New Orleans. We were taking a ferry. And I won that last night and we were running for the ferry. try to make the last ferry after winning and doing the picture and all that stuff for the bulletin. Barely, I remember the night before I had actually hosted hotel with some friends, and so I had my suitcase, and then I'm running with this trying to catch the ferry because the ferry. If you don't catch the ferry, it was going to be like an hour and a half taxi or something around the water. But I barely made the ferry.
That was just a team of friends. That wasn't a professional.
Right. That was before I had my first gig. That was the win that probably got me my first gig because we won that four-handed. We played every board.
Oh, so you didn't get your first thing with Billy Miller until after you won?
03. It was 4, I think, maybe at first gig, something like that. It may have been a little bit later when I first found out about the bridge player. I'm not very good with dates. But I do know that my first game was like midway through 1996, and my first pro game was like 04-ish. Yeah. But so it probably took me about 2 years to find out about bridge as a professional.
Is your mom a life master?
I don't know that she is or not, but she'd play for very long. She played and then she got kind of tired of it. She maybe played like 2 years, 3 years. She probably isn't, maybe she isn't a life master. I don't think she probably is not. She definitely didn't do very many regionals, so I don't think she had her gold points.
You told me a great story once about Ira Hessel and preempting. Will you tell about how he lets the hand decide?
Sometimes you have these decisions where like it's very close. You like it's not 100% which way to go. Like, should I open this hand 3 or 4 spades, or should I 2 or pass, or whatever it is? And it's the closest session. And so like he told me that he like often lets the hand decide, meaning he starts reaching towards the bidding box, not 100% sure which one he's going to do. And then at the last minute, the hand just goes for one of them. And then that's the one he'll do. There's another great story from Ira. His vision isn't the best. And so there was one time, this is the greatest thing. So his right-hand opponent had opened, I think, a heart. And Ira had overcalled queen, 10, 6 of clubs. And then they're defending some heart, whatever it was. And so now Ira decided to lead his stiff spade, hearts. I think it was 4 hearts. He leads the stiff spade, and at this moment, after it hits table, he realizes now that he did not ace queen 10 6 of 10 fifth of clubs, and he had ace and 1 spade. He effectively, instead of leading his stiff spade, he underled his ace and 1 spade and had overcalled 2 clubs with a queen high suit. The dummy hit with king jack of spades, played the jack and the queen, and now his partner underled in 1 club. Declare had king jack of that suit. So it went jack to his queen 5th, and now he cashes ace of spades and played a club to his partner, who gave him a spade ruff, and then he gave his partner a club ruff.
Oh, man.
The things that happen in bridge.
Do you have any more Ira?
Not at the moment. There's some more. Ira is a great guy. Ira is he reminds me of the guy from Back to the Future, the science. I mean, if you see, if y'all don't know Ira, you see this guy, he's like a spinning image, and brilliant. He's brilliant. He's a PhD and professor. The guy's great. He's very good bridge player too, and a funny guy, and one of the nicest people you'll meet.
Have you played an event today?
I played in the 2-session regional this morning. Yeah.
How many consecutive days have you played in a bridge event? Like, is it every day for you?
No, it's not every day. I play about half the time every other day. My longest streak, though, ever, I did play one time when I was on the regionals. I played 5 consecutive regionals in a row where they had like a day off. And it was only because of like the holiday and it was travel day or whatever. But other than that, I was like traveling and playing on the same day, like play Sunday, travel Sunday night, play Monday and did that 5 weeks in a row. And it does start to get a little tiring, but I caught a second wind. And then like after you start playing so much, I feel like, it's in a rhythm. When COVID started and they canceled the tournaments in March, I don't even think I played online once. I sat at home doing nothing basically for 2 months and started playing online and I was horrible. I mean, at first, it's just you get in the groove and plus it's a different environment. You're clicking instead of playing cards. It was so to me, I play much better in person than online. Online, there's just distractions around the house and it's harder for me to focus. Although I've gotten used to it now. July, August, I started playing quite a bit. Since August, I've been playing quite a bit. So but at the beginning it was like I was like, what are you doing? You're watching the spots and stuff like that. It's hard to play that way. But once you get used to it, clicking instead of pulling a card, it's easier.
Do you think that the format that Bridge has been for the last however many years pre-COVID, do you think that's going to come back with regionals and everything?
I think that a lot of people want that. Maybe not everybody. I just hope that I'm worried a little bit of those. I'm not worried about the future of Bridge. Bridge is such a great game. I don't think that it'll die. I would rather see it go in person, several reasons, versus cheaters. That's been a big topic of these days. But Bridge itself won't die. It's just too good of a game. There's no better game than Bridge. But as far as going to regionals or having the club games, like I haven't even played it. So maybe like once a year or something, playing a game. I really didn't do club games anymore. I pretty much just played regionals and nationals. But I do hope that it comes back. I think it will. Almost everybody I talk to says like they miss going out to the game. Just a matter of whether the general public, which is an older population, are they going to fear catching COVID? And that may be the reason that they don't want to go. And we'll see.
Oh, how often do you play with Patty?
Not too often. We play local sectionals when I'm off, when I'm not being hired. We'll play together in local sectionals. So it usually ends up being about a year. I haven't played with her. Oh, I do played a couple times online or recently, like when I play with Kay and Kay can't do a session and we're in a long event or whatever. So she'll play. When I was traveling a lot, I would basically play with her about 5 weekends a year, I would guess. So maybe 15 days a year.
I'm dating a Bridge player now, and we played in the event last night where we played against you and Kay. You said hello in the private chat, and it took me a while. I don't know if you noticed, but it took me a while to respond.
I did, yeah.
Because I was so mad. I was so frustrated. Are you able to? Do you get frustrated with Patty for what you think are poor plays?
Depends on my mood. Like sometimes if they've been adding up, I'll get more frustrated, but I am not so frustrated, particularly in real life when you're face to face. But being behind the computer where nobody can see you, I often find myself yelling at the screen or whatever. But in person, no, I really don't. And of course, I always understand, I don't play perfectly. Nobody does. So my partners understand my mistakes. So therefore, I try to be understanding of their mistakes.
It says here that your favorite Bridge memory is winning the Swiss teams.
Yeah, at the time that I wrote that probably was. I think because I wrote Bridge Winners Profile, probably where you found that at the time. Since then, I may have had some more fun memories. I've never been in a finals of Vanderbilt or Spingle. Recently with the Levine team, we played. It wasn't the same Levine team that I'd always been on, but he wasn't going to go, actually, instead of Eddie Wold, who was on another team. Oren Kriegel played with Levine, and we had a good run where we got to third, fourth, losing to Nickel in the semifinal. But making it that far on that team was really good because our team was like 25th or something like that. So we really weren't even supposed to be that far. And that was a pretty exciting run for me because that was the first time that I really tasted for a moment like I could almost taste that we were going to really do something good. But Nickel decided, they told us with their cards and their bids that we weren't really going to be doing it. I think we withdrew after being down like 80 or 90 or something. So anyway, and their front four was about to be playing. So
this was Memphis?
I think maybe. It was recently, maybe like 3 years ago or 2 or 3 years ago.
Who was the third pair?
The Colonel, Finketrell, Conneru.
Oh, right.
Playing with one of it, Pratap.
Do you remember we played the Washington NABC together? We played as partners, and there was a hand. We played that when we opened the bidding and they overcalled a heart, 1 spade denied 4 spades.
I've played that before. You were trying to tell me this story, I think, a while back, and you said that I bid spades and I'd bid one spade without spades. I don't remember the final details or where we got, but you were trying to tell me this story. I really, honestly, the only thing that I remember about this is that you told me about a month ago when you told me we were going to do this interview, and I don't remember it actually happening. So I don't know how high we got.
We did get to a slam.
6 spades. Were we in a 4-2 fit? I probably thought you were like 7-5. You bid spades so many times.
Oh my gosh. Would you say that making 4 spades in the last deal of the mixed teams, would you say that's your best? Is that your best played?
I don't know. I briefly remember that's the article they wrote up, I guess, in the New York Times.
Yeah.
I briefly remember.
It was a squeeze end play. Yeah.
I think that they could have actually beaten me earlier
yeah.
in the hand, but then they didn't.
Do you have a best played hand?
No. I mean, first time I consciously did a double squeeze, but it turned out it didn't matter. But it was one of my favorite hands because I knew I was going to do it, but the queen and 1 diamond popped up on side, so it didn't even matter what I did. I don't think I have any like favorite all-time best plays. I actually don't even remember a lot of my hands after about a week or so. They kind of disappear.
I want to ask you about Justin Lall, but I understand if like it's too soon.
No, you can ask me about Justin.
He called you the Swiss master in our research.
Yeah, he dubbed me the Swiss master, yes. Because all my wins were in Swisses. The Jacoby Open Swiss, the North American Swiss. I've been second in the Ross Swiss, the North American Swiss twice. I won the World Swiss teams. I have another second with the Levine team in the Swiss. So yeah, and I have like lots of top 10 finishes. And like I've only been in the round of 8 in the spin gold like twice. So I guess that's why he calls me Swiss master. All my good results are from Swiss.
Do you remember meeting Justin?
Yeah, I do remember meeting Justin. Justin was a friend of my wife's before. He lived in San Antonio, which my wife had lived all her life. And she played bridge with Justin for a couple years, and he was like 13, 14 years old, and she would go pick him up from the club and they would play. My wife learned how to play bridge from Justin, and she was in her late 20s and in his early teens. So anyway, Justin, in the process of moving from San Antonio to Dallas, or maybe had already moved and is going to go. And I was in the process of, like at that time, my wife lived in San Antonio, I lived in Arlington, and Justin was in Dallas, having his mother living in San Antonio. So Justin was going back to San Antonio. I played against him one time. I remember I played against him and bid a grand slam that required a 3-2 trump break, a finesse, and then a squeeze. And it all came to fruition. Justin, I remember, made a comment. He said, "Nice bidding," a little sarcastically. That was pretty much my only interaction with Justin. And now I was dating Patty and I was going to go to San Antonio to visit her. And Justin needed to go back to San Antonio to visit his mother. She was already friends and played with Justin. So she said, "Greg is coming down. He can drive you down." So Justin came over to my house. We were going to leave early in the morning. So he spent the night at my house and we had a lot in common. I like to play a lot of video games and he played video games and stuff like that. So we instantly hit it off. And then we drove down. He liked the music that I was driving around the car and we instantly became friends. I played quite a bit of bridge with years. And then he moved. He really became an accomplished pro much sooner than I and has played. Justin is one of the smartest people I have ever met. One of the greatest, very giving. I miss him a lot. He was one of my very, very close friends. But yeah, that was the first time we had met. Here we are. We don't even know each other, driving him to San Antonio.
That's a nice tribute, man. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he really is.
I've never met Patty, but I saw that her picture on Facebook was of her and Justin. I didn't realize how they knew each other and that they knew each other so well.
Yeah, she knew Justin 2 or 3 years before I ever met him. So at one time they were probably best friends. And that was when he was younger. You get older and things change, but they were still.
I think that's something that's cool about bridge is that you could become best friends with somebody who's like twice your age, you know?
Oh yeah,
that in that age, you know, like as a 14-year-old.
Right.
And that's something that I think that's pretty unique about the relationships that are forged.
Yeah.
Bridge.
You find all kinds of people in bridge, and we have Nobel Prize winners and all kinds of people, all sorts of walks of life, and we have a place that we all kind of understand each other. It's really great. There's a connection. You talk to a bridge player and you never even met the guy before. You can talk for conversation, and everybody else around you is like, what are these guys doing? What are they talking about? Ace fourth, three little. What? I don't get it. You're speaking English words, but none of it makes sense.
Yes, one of the challenges about having this podcast is like, who do I want the audience to be? And there's been a couple of conversations where I've thought, I wonder if I should get Greg to like go back a little bit so that people would understand who are maybe not as familiar with bridge as you and I are, not to do that each time.
Okay.
So there's an audience of about 300 people for these conversations.
300 people that don't play bridge, or 300 total audience?
One of the pieces of feedback that I've heard from friends and like people that don't play bridge that have listened to the show is that they just don't understand.
Yeah, it really is some kind of game. It's like my friends are like, bridge, and do you have a week? And then you'll just know the very basics. You won't even be anywhere. You can teach the basically like, okay, you have to bid higher than whatever. You can take the concept, but to really learn bridge takes years. I mean, and even then, like I've been playing for 24, 25 years, and I still find myself finding a way later, like if solve something that I didn't. Just like it's a game that I always tell myself, like, when I ever feel like I've mastered the game, a bridge, you will no longer see me anymore. And that'll never happen because I don't feel anybody can ever master it completely where you're just playing totally perfect.
Sure.
I'm not talking about like double dummy perfect. I'm just talking about even single dummy perfect. To play it, although we all strive to do it, but that keeps us coming back. Another thing that I love about bridge is all the auctions I've ever had. I mean, every time I go to a regional, I see a new auction that I've never seen before. So it's really exciting to know you can play hundreds and thousands of hands and still have new things happening all the time.
Have you taught anyone?
You mean from beginning? No, I haven't taught anybody. I teach as a bridge pro, I teach people bridge, but I've never taught anybody from the intro level. Normally, like I prefer to have somebody have some experience, the basics down, and then you can work from there. But I've never really taught anybody from the very, very beginning.
Do you still play hearts?
No, I haven't played hearts or spades in years. I haven't played spades or hearts really since I played bridge.
I play hearts with my parents, and I play hearts with a group of friends here.
That's fun. My grandfather played a game we called Taroki. It's a checklist. I think maybe some other countries have variants of it, but it uses its own deck. It's a very fun game. It's a four-handed game like bridge, and you have a partner like bridge. But the weird part about this game is, first of all, they have a trump suit. It's the Roman numerals or trumps 1 through 22, and then they have 8 cards in each suit, plus the 22 trumps. Now, as the deal rotates, the dealer changes. And the partner of the dealer is whoever has the 19 of the trumps. So the person who owns the 19 of trumps knows who their partners is, but the other people do not. Part of the game is trying to figure out who your partner is by the way the tricks are going. And it's not about taking tricks, it's about taking like certain cards are worth it. So you like the way it plays, you're leading juicy tricks into your partner or throwing points on their tricks and stuff like that. So you kind of figure out who the partner is. So every deal if you have the 19 on your own or whatever.
And you're the dealer.
Yeah, and you're the dealer. Or anyway, there's a draw phase. It's a complicated game, but it works similar to bridge, but you must trump when you can't follow suit. There's some different rules, but the fascinating part to me is the fact that you start of a deal.
Hinze's from that. It's a Czech or Slovak?
Hinze's a German. My family is like my grandparents all 4 of my grandparents were born in the following countries: Switzerland, Norway, Czechoslovakia, and Germany. My name comes from the German, which I speak 0 of.
What's your bowls tip? Your bowls tip?
My bowls tips: watch the spots. Watch the spots. The spots in bridge mean everything. Yeah, knowing when a 7 is low versus high, and knowing when they play it, like how many cards are lower than the card play or higher, and the percentage of chance that is a low card or a high card. The spots in bridge is everything.
If you could change one thing in bridge, what would it be?
I don't know. I like the game. Think of an improvement, really. Although I played variants of bridge like pass left and stuff like that, but like a laugh or two when you're drinking or something. I think bridge is as fantastic as it is.
I'm going to be interviewing Andrew Robson on the show soon, and he said something which I had never heard before. He suggested, this was in an interview that was like 25 years ago, but he suggested having the opening lead take place after the dummy has come down.
Interesting. That would improve a lot of opening, sure. You wouldn't be like firing out the two ace, king, queen, jack, fifth in the dummy.
Think about it. Like at one point, they didn't have the dummy. They used to play double dummy as a two-person whist game. You could see all four hands, essentially. Two hands were down. And that's when I think that's where the concept of the dummy came from.
I think the dummy is a good concept, actually. I like it. It's a unique feature that like no other game has. We played. Have you ever played Pass Left?
No.
Pass Left. You bid the hand, and after you pass. Everybody passes their hand to the left. So you don't want to be bidding too much when you have a lot of high points because you're about to pass all your points to the opponents. So, and that is played without a dummy. And so everybody controls their own hand. You remember, every card that you pass to your LHO opponent, so you know which finesses and stuff to take. But the bidding is really tough because like if you have a 4-3-3 Yarbrough, you're opening like 2 no trump because you know that lefty's going to have nothing.
So it's literally bridge bidding,
and there's systems for it. Like say trump and your 2-3 majors, so that's the perfect time to Stamen. Because it'll be passing 3. And then so when you respond to Stamen, then you respond shortness. Like, okay, I have 2 or 3 spades. He'll be like, aha, we have a fit because you have short spades and I have short spades. So then you
literally contracting.
Yeah. I remember I was playing with Dan Corbell once, and we bid to 6 spades. It's really hard to bid a slam in Pass Left. But we had a great auction to bid to 6 spades. And then there was some great play that Dan or something to make it.
All right. I don't have anything. I'm fresh out.
I'm fresh out too. It's been fun.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I know you guys are only hearing us, but we actually have the video here. So it's nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, that's true. Do you do anything to get ready online? Like do you look at like bidding problems or any sort of warm up?
No, not these days. I pretty much just play 2 precision system, and I have a standard precision that I play with some partners, and I've played them so much now, and there's not much difference. So I haven't been having to do much studying. Normally, like I played recently, I played with people, like I played with Dan Corbell recently. We played in the online knockout and barely lost. But and I normally have we have some discussion. We talk about an hour. We have 2-page notes, and those I review always. When I'm in a new partnership, I always review my notes, which I try to keep at a minimum. But I definitely review those before I play an event.
Would you be willing to share your 2 pages of notes with me, or even the?
I don't even know if it was notes. It's just kind of like it's just like I can maybe find them, but it's really. You would be shocked. I can try to send them to you, but it's not much there. It's just like names of conventions and maybe little Dan wrote these up and sent them to me when we were talking. So he had some fillers. They're not like notes like you would think. They're more like reminders talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just be curious to see what listeners, but it would be interesting just to see what that looks like for me.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
It's been fun.
I appreciate you doing this, and I look forward to seeing you in person.
Yeah. Yeah, we will again. Oh, and I still have the socks that you gave me.
There you go.
Yeah.
I had one follow-up question that I asked Greg over text message. I wanted to know what's the difference between his partnership and Meckwell, because Greg's gotten close. He's gotten to the semifinals of the Vanderbilt, where he lost to the nickel team. And he said his answer would be 2-part. 1, experience. They have been a partnership forever. And he thinks just individually, they're just incredible players. If you're interested in hiring Greg, you can find him on the website Bridge Winners. I've played a regional and a national with him. We had a good time. I don't think we did great, but I don't remember how we did in the regional so much. But the national, we did not. We did win a knockout. We won a knockout in the national, like a regional knockout, which is not the big leagues. But we managed to carry Christina Lund-Madsen to that title. And I think we beat Klukowski. We beat Klukowski in that KO. So it wasn't nothing. Anyway, that's it for now. We'd love for you to leave us a review, join our email list, send us a photo of where you listen to the setting trick, anything, something fun, zany. This is about having a good time and sharing our love for bridge. Later.